What's up, everyone? Welcome back to DLC Wheel of Game Pass. I'm Jeremiah, Juicy J, Fake Prophet, many names, many faces, but one beautiful body. And over here is Ice. What's up, bro?
How's it going, man? How are you?
Oh, can't complain, man. The ever industrious, always fly. Ice over there, having fun in his blurry room. But, you know,
Hey, better camera quality though. Better camera quality.
it looks good. It does look good. I'm still in the living room because I'm lazy, is what it is. So, is what it is. At one point, I'll make my own little home. It's whatever the wife wants from me.
Hey, man, you're good either way. Your streams have been phenomenal.
It's been
Your
very
addiction
fun.
has been noted.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone who's come by and talked and chilled and watched me and berated me or cheered me on. I appreciate it. Vampire Survivors.
Does anyone that stops by our live streams, dude, it really means a lot.
We just really want the company. Like, gosh, we're just so lonely.
Pretty much. Give us someone to talk to.
But jumping into the live streams, this is the wheel of Game Pass. We started this a couple months ago, of course, and we're still going on with it. We're picking random games, one on console and one on PC from the Game Pass itself, using the Game Pass randomizer, and we figure out what games we're gonna play. So this one here, this time we had the Ascent for Ice on PC and Vampire Survivors for myself for the month of December, and it did bleed into January for some of us. So, for one of us. So, let's just kick into it. Isaac, the Ascent. Now we co-opted that, and you played a little bit of that after that.
Yeah.
What
So,
did you
here,
think about it, bro?
so first, I want to start off with one thing. We didn't really experience this because we were playing co-op
Hmm.
and we're just messing around and whatnot. But the game itself, so for those who don't know, it's based in the cyberpunk world. It's over the top. It's a looter shooter. I guess you would classify it as.
Hmm.
Um, though of the soundtrack to the game is pretty top notch. If you haven't given it a listen, I recommend giving it a listen. It's pretty legit. Um, now starting out, we had some issues,
Mm.
and this is what I'm gonna touch up on right now. the game the game mechanics, the visuals are there. I like it, right? But the control mapping for controllers for me is a bit, I didn't like it. It was a bit complex, doing the dual analog, and for some people it may be easy, right? I was hoping more. If anyone has played Call of Duty Zombie Spec Ops, what I think it was called, where it was like the over the top where you just aim and it shoots, and I mean I don't know why I was thinking that, because this feels like it has more of a story base to it, which the story itself isn't really memorable. I will say if you're playing this game, it's for the aesthetic of, like I said, it's a cyberpunk world. You could like upgrade your weapons, and different weapons work best with different enemies, like any RPG or FPS story based game. Well, outside of Call of Duty, like the Borderlands, the looter shooters. There we go. And the the so I played it. So me and Juicy played it for like almost 2 hours, and then I went and played it for another 2 hours by myself. And I felt that though it is possible to play by yourself, and mind you, I forgot to say this. I playing it with keyboard and mouse. I found keyboard and mouse is way better than controller. I highly recommend keyboard and mouse over controller.
Uh,
But
that's fair. It was
but
a little complicated. Like I was like, if I had more, but if I would have had the controller I have now, that I
Mhm,
got, I feel like I would have done a better time because I would have had more buttons, more mapping,
right,
Could have put places in different places. Would have been great.
yeah. But I found myself, like I said, not caring too much of the story or the characters. Testing out new weapons, and the cosmetics are pretty cool.
Mm.
The cosmetics are pretty legit. I like to have the armor. You can't you can upgrade the armor, but I feel like it's more catered towards the weapons than it is than it is the armor. But it's a game I would say if you have a buddy over and you want to play something and kind of lose your just lose your mind in and just like just play it without having to focus on the story. I would say that this is the game. And on, but like I said, for me, like I said, the visuals, the soundtrack, everything about it is good outside of the controller and the fact that the story and characters aren't as memorable as I would have hoped, considering the hype the game had, you know? But I
Hmm.
will say if they decide to build on it, they do have a good foundation.
Okay.
And I would give it like a 7 out of 10, you know. It's not a bad game. I didn't go back and play it. Like once I did the 2 hours, it's not I stopped playing it not because it wasn't fun, but it I feel that's a co-op game through and through. I
That's
yeah,
fair.
I mean you can play it by yourself, but I think it's a co-op game. You need someone there to play with you because there's a lot of dead time in between sections where you're kind of just running around or walking and it's just like
Well, it
but
helps
yeah.
explain certain thing. I will say that one thing that got me when we were playing was that it was trying to route me through a place we couldn't access. It's like,
Mhm.
well, what's good? What good is map routing if it's going to try and route me through a place we cannot pass? You know, so that really frustrated me. But I mean, not like bad, just more of a something I know. It's like, well, I don't know where to go then. You know, you're trying to get me to go through this gate that obviously won't let me go through the gate. You know, obviously there's another route. Please help. You
Well,
know.
what's kind of sucked about it, like what you're saying is that like most looter shooters, it won't stop you from progressing to another section, even though you're not supposed to be there, but it will punish you for being there.
Mm,
Like you'll run into enemies that are way too strong for you. And you're like, I'm not ready to go there yet. But this one was like, no, just don't go that way. We're blocking you off until you progress along in the story. Which I mean, I guess it's fine. It keeps you on track, but it kind of encloses what seems to be somewhat open worldish, or as open world as a overtop game can be.
mm.
You
It
know?
certainly brings the walls in a little closer. It's like it's trying to make it seem as though it's just this amazing, expansive world that you might be able to go interact with a lot of things and stuff like that. But ultimately, it's still just a linear railroad, you know.
Yeah,
And that was one of the things. Like, yeah, I mean, ultimately, this literally is just a railroaded campaign. You know, there's nothing really different about it than any other top down I've played. You know, this is reminds me of
yeah.
Shoot Many Robots, where we're just going from left to right, shooting as many robots as possible. You know,
But like
so
I said, if you like cyberpunk theme, because I'm big into cyberpunk and steampunk. Those are like my favorite aesthetics. So just the map visuals, just how like you have these nice because even though I stopped playing it, I was watching someone else play it just because it was funner to see someone like a group of guys playing it and them roasting each other. But there are sections where like where we started out are basically the slums, but it like most cyberpunk thing, or I felt like most cyberpunk things, you're going against a giant corporate. Yeah, but they do have like this rich area where it's nice and shiny, and you kind of stick out like a sore thumb because you look like you're just from the hood. But no, I mean it's a good game. I like. Is it a game that I would say it's a must play? Not really, but like I said, if you like Cyberpunk, and maybe you just finished playing Cyberpunk and you want something of the same aesthetic but different game style, the same, I feel like it could fill that void.
if you, especially if you like the Borderlands feel, the kind of
Mhm,
dystopian, like the steampunk more than cyberpunk, but I do agree it's a little bit of both. You know, and
mhm.
Um, I definitely agree. I definitely agree. Probably a 5 out of 10 for me, but I'm kind of over um, top downs, and it's not my aesthetic. So admittedly, that's a bias, guys. Like and I think I said that in the live. She's like, it's not usually the genre and the story base that I go for, you know. So
Mhm. Which I will say, because mind you, that's the whole point of the Willa Game Pass, right? And so far, within the Willa Game Pass, the games I played, which is this one and Crackdown 3, are both similar in the sense of story is pretty absent within it. So I'm hoping this week's roll we get something more story focused and we can see. What other value is there? I mean, obviously you have Persona, which they're known for their story, but like we said before, and if we're gonna look past that because that's
That's 100
a
hours,
long
bro.
game, and
Like,
there's enough information out there.
we have to make our decisions on that because my thing is like, guys, if we go for it, we'll talk about we'll talk about the end. We'll compare at the end. But so you said 7 out of 10 for the Ascent.
Yeah, and
Okay,
that's saying in the part of you're playing co-op with someone. Like I
fair.
said, like if you haven't gone and listened to the soundtrack, I think you would appreciate it since you're a soundtrack guru, a
I
soundtrack
do
guru, I
love
would say.
I do
So
love
I would say
soundtracks.
go listen to the Ascent because honestly, listen to the album made me want to go watch Blade Runner.
Oh, okay, okay. I'd love to. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
I'll go listen to it. But all right, 7 out of 10. I'm gonna 5 out of 10 tentatively. Let me listen to the soundtrack. I may put out a short revising this once I listen to that soundtrack.
Or just put
And
out a short review reacting to the soundtrack,
yeah,
because there are some games out there that have great soundtracks and they're not good games, but that soundtrack just banging.
mm-hmm. Oh, I know that. But so okay. Well, moving into a different category, but a similar premise. So where it's
I'm
not
excited for this
dystopian.
one.
Yeah, dude, I have been
Real quick, before we start, Jeremiah, I'm happy you're here. We tricked you. This is a what's it called? A
an intervention.
intervention. Jeremiah, you have a
Suddenly,
problem.
suddenly, like work in progress. Jacob comes in. My mom, it's like what, what,
Jeremiah, you have a problem. But
bro?
go ahead and
Like
tell them, man.
that game got me. It took one run. I'm like, it went, so from start to finish, y'all saw. For those who went and watched. If you haven't, go watch the first one. 'Cause the first, like, this is not. Like, I hyped that game up thinking I was about to get some high flying Castlevania esque vampire killing, and it's a top down mobile 16-bit great music, but it's like, oh, all right, well, let's give this a shot. And I think I said on stream, I don't know if I'm gonna stream 5 hours or play 5 hours of this, but I'm getting the general gist of it, and it's pretty fun. And here we are, like 20 hours later, and guys, it grabbed me. It was good. It was originally made by a guy who worked on slot machines, and believe the mechanics of Rev's there in the corner. Rev's there in the corner.
Which means his job was to make someone addicted to the machine.
Addicted to the machine, and we learned that already. You had brought up a prolific streamer who was against the game,
I'll say his name right now because he's my idol, like Maximilian.
Maximilian. I didn't
Like
know.
like
I
but
didn't
like
know. I didn't know. I'm trying to call him out. My
no
thing's like,
no 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 no. When there's people like that, people I respect, I'll give them a shout out. Granted, whoever's watching this probably should already know who Maximilian is. He is like
all
one of the
all two of
chillest dudes.
you that watch this
Uh, t-
video, Maximilian, y'all
hey,
need to go
hey,
watch
there's
him.
more
He's
than two. All
great.
right, we get like between 5 to 10 views. Don't disrespect them like that.
You're
But
right.
anyways, no, I just want like real quick. I remember he started up his stream. It was like, yeah, so this is my first time streaming this of me playing it, and yeah, chat, you see that correctly. I've already put in 18 hours off stream, and the thing is, he's known for not playing off stream because he says he's what's it called? Where what was that one test that psychology test where the dogs started salivating because like, he turned
Oh,
on the
he's
light.
conditioned. He's conditioned.
He conditioned himself to play games with chat. So that just tells you how much of an addiction this game is to where it broke that. And to tell them how. Tell them about the
How?
games, Juice.
Let me break it down, bro. So, like, literally, it is a story about you fighting all kinds of monsters and minions, mobs that are just coming at you from every which direction. It's kind of a bullet hell slash roguelite. Uh, uh, and I've had some people try to argue it's a tower defense. It's not a tower defense. That's not a tower defense. It's literally
Well,
the closest it is a bullet hell. And here's what I mean. When I bring that up, I'm not saying they're shooting a bunch of attacks. I'm jumping between them and stuff. But you have to know where your hitbox is as compared to the enemies. and you got to maneuver around them as you can. The last stream, if y'all go and watch that one, at one point I've got like nothing. I messed myself over. I was tired. I was picking up the wrong abilities. And so, like, at the end of the game, for like 2 minutes, I had to keep myself alive using the cheapest mechanic of weaving in between frozen enemies and just like doing this whole circle. And 2 minutes, like that. That's an eternity in a game like that. Either way,
Well,
it's. Go ahead. Sorry, Isaac. Go.
you said there was a challenge, right? If you
Oh
survive 10
God.
minutes.
So you do a lot of stuff if you survive like every so while, like you'll get like, for instance, Xbox, I'll get a bunch of achievements. There's achievements in the game as well for surviving 10 minutes with someone, for doing this, for doing that. You can unlock people by finding other things on the map. It's actually really cool. But if you can survive to 30 minutes, the Reaper comes out, and I mean, he just bum rushes you and kills you in less than a second. There are ways to
uh,
defeat him, but
I want to ask you a question about that.
what's up, babe?
So, sorry to speak with my mouth full. I haven't eaten all day, but
Yeah,
so you play for 30 minutes and you get to the Reaper, right?
yeah, yeah.
So, for me, for instance, playing a story-based game or the sort, 30 minutes is nothing. Like, I just got done playing Spider-Man. 30 minutes is nothing, right? But with a game like that, where you got to be laser focused, know your routes, know what you got to do. Does it get overwhelming? Like you're up for 30 minutes.
So I will say that, like, depending on the mode you're playing, it can get to the point where it's like you feel claustrophobic. I have gotten past that in my years, but I played a lot of bullet hells. So I was like, oh God, like, oh, they're coming in, and you'd see me kind of dancing with what little room I had. And as soon as I see someone break, I'm like, oh, step in, step in, step in. I have a lot of fun with this, and you can too. Anyone can. But yes, I mean, you will feel it. And in every mode, there's a time where you just get surrounded. And it's meant to make you feel that way. I mean, it does very well and make you feel like it's a fight. I mean, everything about the game is just great. And I say that so of course cost plays a factor into this as well. It's free on Game Pass. It's free. You're paying $15 a month or $10 a month, whatever you're paying to play
How
it.
much is the game in general? What's it?
$5.
That looks like $5 well worth it, to be honest.
Well worth it. Well, and my thing was, I think I got like 20% off because it's on Game Pass. I'm playing it, so I was like, oh yeah. So I bought that and the DLC. The DLC is like
Which
a
I
dollar
which I
fifty.
want to say, which I want to say, there are people out there that will argue Game Pass hurts the developer, but last I heard, it was like a year or so ago, where developers are saying they're seeing a rise in sales because their game was on Game Pass.
A lot more people are playing it. I mean, it's stopping it from being completely locked out from the general populace. And I feel like this is
Exactly.
definitely one of those. Well, that's how I use it. And we've talked with Work in Progress before. We've talked amongst ourselves about what the Game Pass is and what we believe in. I believe it's a beautiful thing. I think that they're doing very well. I think that or what I do for instance, like Persona 5. I bought Persona 5. I knew I was going to play it, and if for some reason they took it off before I was done playing through it and got my fill of it, I'd
Off
like
the
to
Game
play more.
Pass?
No, they haven't taken it off. I'm saying if they
Oh,
did. Like if I start
oh
playing
okay,
it and
yeah.
I get sidetracked, and then if I were to come back and suddenly, oh, I can't play it anymore, like they do with Castlevania every 2 to 3 months.
Yeah.
Like it's like, bro, I just want to finish the game.
Damn you, Bandai! Oh, is that Bandai or that's Bandai, right?
I think
Namco? Oh no,
Namco.
is that Konami? That's Konami.
Konami for Castlevania?
Yeah, I think Konami owns Castlevania.
Okay.
Could be wrong.
Could
Anyways,
be wrong.
continue.
It wasn't that wasn't a series I played until recently, so uh we're gonna look that up. But anyways, so that whole thing is good, but where it does lack, is
It's
the fact.
Konami. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
Konami.
it is definitely Konami. Boop. But where it does lack is like the story. Like they're trying to say, yeah, there's vampires, you're fighting all these things and stuff, but there's not a story here. There's more story in Dark Souls without the reading. You're literally just surviving. You're fighting
Hey, hey,
mobs and
hey, hey,
things,
hey,
but
hey, hey! How dare you? Everyone knows Soulsborne games are the most story-based games, and you don't have to dig deep to find it at all. They literally put it out to you on a silver platter. Okay,
You're
you
right.
ever play
You're right.
Sekiro? Come on now.
You're right. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to run my mouth here, but either way, I would say like for a story, there's not really a story other than the premise of you're a bunch of people fighting vampires and otherworldly things, you know. Um,
But does
Good.
it need a story?
No, I do not. My thing is, I don't think it takes away from it because it doesn't really need a story. You could have looked like this weird, just happy-go-lucky, upside down, like fist. You know, it's like, what is that? And I still would have played the game and tried to, fist things. I don't know, like I would have still played the game the way I'm playing it. Um,
Mhm.
I tell people about it. We had some people in the last stream say, "Hey, I can't even get past this level." The stream prior, I had people reach out to me like, "Hey," I said people one person, but reach out to me like, "Hey, how did you get to this far? Like, what weapons do you recommend and stuff? What relics?" And I was just trying to get some pointers. I gave them on screen. I gave them off screen. Like, just like this is what you can do to do a little better on this game. And I by no means am a champ at it, but I'd like to say I do pretty decent. And yeah, it's a fun game. So overall, like it grabbed me and it cost me. I'm still gonna play it. I'll probably play that game in between other like I'm playing a game now, waiting till the end of this. Not playing while we're streaming. I wouldn't disrespect y'all like that. But I am playing another game, waiting for whenever I have a 30-minute to an hour long opening, and I'll be like, okay, I'm gonna play a little more because there's still more to unlock for me. I'll probably still stream it. Uh, so to give that all 9 out of 10.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I mean,
I'd give it more, but the music needs to be just a little louder. I know you can
you can't fix
adjust.
that in the settings.
You can to a point, but like it's just a really loud game, you know.
Yeah.
I think the music is dope, and I feel like there should have been a focus on that. I'm not saying that what takes away. I think what takes away from it is still a style that I would have expected to play a game like this like back in like the late '90s, early 2000s. You know,
Mhm.
this is definitely it's low maintenance, low budget. You know,
Well,
and
and
good.
like, not fish your thought.
So my thing is like, so I'm glad that it doesn't cost as much because I honestly, like, then I have to put it in comparison if it did cost more. Like, if this were a $15 game, would
Yeah.
I have played it? No,
Well, okay,
no.
so would you say the developers, the director, the creator, would you say this game is self-aware of what it is? Like, like they know they're a $5 game and they're okay with that.
Yeah, yeah,
Like, because there are games out there, for instance, like, not saying it's the developer's fault or anything. Like, for instance, some people will say, well, I don't want to buy a $30 to $40 game just as at the lowest for a game that the story is not good, right? I'm buying for a story. I'm buying for a story. Whereas this game, like I'm looking at it right now, it's on sale for $3.99 if you have Game Pass and $4.99 if you don't. It's like, look, and the thing is, what I like about it, it gives you the mystique of back in the day when you're looking at the box art and it's so awesome looking, right? You look at like, oh, this looks intense, and then you play and it's pixelated. But as a kid, what you saw in the box, you visualize on the screen, whether even though it's pixelated, right? So I like the fact that you could tell they took time to develop the artwork of like the cover art and whatnot, just for you to hop into a pixel like a 16-bit game. You're like, huh? And it's like, yeah, we have. And the thing is, I feel like what helps with that is, like I said again, the guy's job is to get people onto the game and stay on the game. So like the artwork is like, yo, this looks sick. This looks like vintage Castlevania. So that pulls you in. And then you start playing it along with the game mechanics, and you're like, well, this is a Castlevania, but it's not bad either, though.
no.
So
Oh,
yeah, so I
I think
I
I'm
like
going to
games
try it
like
out.
that that are self-aware. Huh?
I do think that everyone should try it out. I think that
Well,
that's what I'm like. I'm still staying on a 9, bro. Like I still think it's 9 worthy. Would I have paid more than $5 for it? Probably not. But like you said, we know what the game is. It wasn't going to
yeah,
be some Elden Ring narrative, some God of War like high flying
and
action.
and one thing I want to say too, and again, this comes from Maximilian, because if you guys don't know, he's a guy that he has his hand in almost every genre for the most part,
Mhm.
and he compared it to he was like, "This is Hades, but straight to the point." That's how he described it.
I had heard that because my whole it's just a whole I love Hades.
Yeah,
Hades 2
but
coming out this year, I believe. So,
yeah, but he was saying like, "This is it. If you take out all the story and dialogue and just put gameplay,"
mm,
and I was like, "Okay, cool, 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 cool."
it is a
But
fun game. So I say 9 out of 10 for mine. You didn't ever play it, did you guys?
no, but I'm installing it right now just because it looks sick.
We should. I mean, if you want to run through it while I'm playing, like we can play later after the streams. Just kind of what like an after streams recording, if you
Now, look,
will.
yeah, I'm probably gonna go to bed because like I only had like a little, like 4 hours of sleep last night.
That's
I'm
fair. That's fair.
exhausted. I'm exhausted.
Well, you know what? Because of that, we need to speed it through. Then, guys, I believe that's it. Then we got a 9 out of 10 for Vampire Survivors. We got a 7 out of 10 for Ascent, a 5 out of 10 for me. But we'll see how that goes.
Hey,
We are gonna
amazing soundtrack though.
both amazing soundtracks, like both
Mhm.
bumping. I'd say give them both a shot still, especially if the Ascent if the steampunk is your genre. For Vampire
Oh,
Survivors, it's just
and
fun, guys. Like
and if you don't have Game Pass, check this out. You could get it for $1, or when you go to the supermarket and order a bag of Doritos, look for the bag of Doritos as Game Pass on it because there's a code on it that you can use to get Game Pass. At this point they're literally just handing it out.
I tell you, like people going buy Doritos, like. But well,
Buy your
guys,
snack and get Game Pass. There you go.
thank you for joining us on this. Of course, if you're catching us on YouTube, hit us a like with that, subscribe, and a comment down there. Let us know if you agree, if you disagree. You can catch us on our social medias at Dudeletschat from TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. You can catch us on your favorite podcast. We've been trying to post a little more there. Look forward to a dude's lunch chatting for myself and Jacob more towards the middle to end of this month, just depending on when we have time. We try to record that at work, so we have to find the time, and sadly, there just hasn't been. So,
Yeah, I've been busy. Yeah, I've been
I mean,
busy.
it happens, bro. New year, new us. Yeah. But guys, thanks again. We're gonna have this up. Look forward to our re-spins, if you will, a spin of the
Mhm,
Game Pass one more time later on this week, Friday, right?
mhm.
So we're gonna do that Friday. So look forward to that on Friday with our subsequent streams following next week. Till then, guys, stay happy, stay healthy, stay beautiful.